Hey, what's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist, and today I'm doing some Fluffal Frightfur test hands. So this deck just got some insane support in the form of Frightfur Cruel Whale, and a really good new Fluffal monster called Fluffal Dolphin. This card is really good in the deck, and I'm super excited to show you guys some test hands for this. But without further ado guys, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell so you can become part of the notification squad, and definitely check out the Patreon down in the description below because we have some awesome rewards you guys, like getting your name description for every single video, getting a signed card sent to mail, or even getting request a deck profile every single month that you are a patron, along with test hands as well. So without further ado guys, let's get straight on into this. So this deck is really good because it is an OTK based deck, and it actually now that before this deck didn't really have any disruptions that it could like throw at your opponent on their turn, but now with Cruel Whale you can actually throw it on your opponent's turn with Scythe to be able to use its ability, which is really good. This deck has actually gotten really insane, and I would not be surprised if it comes out as like a tier 2 contender. And I like this deck really channels, like they're really cute like on the surface, but they channel Goblin Slayer's like aura when you play them. Like it's really crazy. So let's go ahead and do a quick pile shuffle and then see what we can actually pull off. Like cute stuffed animals, Goblin Slayer at heart. That's pretty much the way that you see Fluffal. It's like for real. But let's go ahead and do a quick pile shuffle and see what we can pull off with this deck. It's really insanely good. Now, it's pretty consistent too because you have a Stratos in the deck. You have your plenty of polymerizations, and it has one of the best searchers in the entire game in the form of Frightfur Patchwork. That card is absolutely bonkers and really good. And I'm really excited to show you guys this deck. So let's go ahead and shuffle it up really quick and see what we can actually pull off. So we're going to go ahead and draw into a Foolish Burial Goods, which is going to send our Toy Vendor to the graveyard. Fluffal Wing, which gives us a draw 2. Chain's pretty good. Dolphin's pretty good. And another copy of Chain. So I would right off the bat, to be honest, since we don't have a... You usually want to go second in this deck, but if we're going second, you're going to draw into the Scythe, which is what you always want to open up with, because it's essentially a fusion spell from your hand, which is really good, but I'm just showing you that. That's what it, and that would change the entire dynamic of the hand, where you could just instantly drop the Cruel Whale against your opponent. I really wish this was a super rare, but hey. We're going to go ahead and activate the copy of Foolish Burial Goods, which the Foolish Burial Goods is going to trigger and send from our deck to the graveyard a copy of Toy Vendor. Now, Toy Vendor's effect is that if this card is sent to the graveyard, you get to add an Edge Imp or a Fluffal from your deck to your hand. So, once that card touches the graveyard, what I usually search right off the bat is my copy of the Fluffal Dog. Now, when you search the Fluffal Dog, that is going to help you out quite a lot to be able to just normal summon out the dog, and then Dog's effect will trigger, letting you search from your deck a copy of another monster. Now, in my opinion, I would usually search Bear off the dog, or you could search your copy of Penguin off the dog if you wanted to go a little bit different, because you could get more plays off of it. It depends on what you want to do. Since you've already normal summoned, I probably would search the copy of... I probably search the Bear, because then you could discard the Bear and then set a copy of Toy Vendor from the deck, which is going to help you out a lot to be able to get the Toy Vendor onto your side of the field, which you set it, shuffle the deck up really quick, and then it's going to let you draw a card as well, just to kind of get to a fusion spell or patchwork or scythe or whatever you feel like you need to get to. So you can flip that copy of Toy Vendor, and it says once per turn you can discard a card, draw a card, and show it. Then if it's a Fluffal monster, you can special summon it, otherwise discard the card you drew. So I'm going to go ahead and discard my Fluffal Wings because it's going to give me another draw as well. Go ahead and draw a card, which is a Bear, and you get to special summon it. I'd always usually special summon it in defense position, because you don't want to special summon in an attack position and get kind of in a bad situation. Now you have the copy of Wing, and you have the copy of your Toy Vendor in the graveyard. And the effect of your Wing in the graveyard is if this card's in your graveyard and you control Toy Vendor, you can banish this card from your graveyard and then target a Fluffal in your graveyard, banish it, and if you get to draw a card, and if you do that, you get to draw another card. So what you're going to do is you're going to send the Toy Vendor to the graveyard, which I believe it's a once per turn. No, it's not once per turn. It's as many times. So you're going to send this to the graveyard, you're going to banish your Fluffal Wing, and you're going to banish any other Fluffal monster, which is your Bear, and it's going to resolve where you get to search, because this is going to hit the graveyard, and then you're going to get to draw as well. So I'm going to go ahead and search my copy of Penguin, shuffle the deck, and then you get to draw 2, which is going to help out quite a lot. Even if you don't get to search first and then you get to search, it's not that bad. It doesn't really matter. But you do get to draw 2, which is going to help you out quite a lot. So we're going to go ahead and draw into a Scythe and a copy of Called by the Grave, which is going to help out the hand a lot. Because now you have your Edgem Scythe that says, hey, during your opponent's main phase, you can quick effect reveal this card in your hand and then fusion summon a Frightfur monster from your extra deck. So you can really end on a board like this where you set your copy of your Called by the Grave, and then during your opponent's turn, on their next turn, you have the Scythe that you can ditch and go for Cruel Whale. You can go for your copy of your Kraken. You can go for your copy of, the only one you can't go for is Tiger, which is a little bit of a shame, but you can go for anything else that you want with this hand, which is really, really, really good. I like that ability a lot. So that's pretty much it for the first test hand. It's a little bit, that wasn't the greatest, and that's what Fluffals do going first. Like, what you're trying to establish nowadays is getting your copy of Scythe, and then when you go second, you go ahead and drop the Scythe and go into Cruel Whale, which Cruel Whale's effect is, if you guys don't know what this new card does, it is very new, so it's understandable if you haven't really studied it all that much. If this card is Fusion Summon, you could destroy a card on both players' fields, and then once per turn, you can target a fusion monster you control and send a Frightfur monster from your deck to the extra deck to the graveyard, and then that monster gains attack equal to that monster, and if you do, the targeted monster gains attack equal to half the original attack of that monster, which is pretty good. So let's go ahead and do another test hand and see what we can pull off. You did have the Call by the Grave to stop your opponent. You had a full hand that you could have started fusion summoning. You got all those searches, so you had a really decent going first play. It wasn't anything insane. The only thing that you could have gone for is Cross Sheep. You could have linked these two away for a Cross Sheep, so when you fusion summon on your opponent's turn, you get to special summon back your dog, so you get another search. That'd be the only thing that I would have changed there, where you, at the end of all that board, you would have had dog and bear on your side of the field like this, and you would have had the Call by the Grave set here, just like this, right here. You would have had the Call by the Grave set, and I would have linked these two away at the very end, and gone directly in for a copy of Cross Sheep, so when I had the Scythe in my hand, I could have fusion summoned and then revived the dog, and then dog's effect is when this card is normal or special summoned from the hand, which you wouldn't have got the search, but you still would have gotten the special summon to your side of the field, which would have got you another monster, which would have helped out quite a lot. So let's go ahead and shuffle up the deck again and see what we can get for our next one. So, let's see. Let's see what we can do on this next test hand. Because this deck is really, really good at OTKing going second. It's not so great going first, because your big play is Scythe Cruel Whale on first turn now. Or Scythe Kraken first turn. Like, it's good, but it's not, this is definitely not a going first deck. So, let's go ahead and see what we can pull off. I'm going to show you guys a going second hand as well. So we're going to go ahead and cut the deck really quick and see what we can do. So we're going to go ahead and draw into a dog. That's pretty good. Goods, that's good. Dolphin, Scythe, and a copy of Call by the Grave. Okay, this is really good going first, because you can do something really simple with this, and mid-combo against your opponent, you can go, okay, I'm going to activate Scythe. On my opponent's turn, if they're going first and I'm going second, I can drop the Scythe on my opponent's turn. So I can fusion summon going first, which is what's really, really, really good about this deck now, is that I can just drop the Scythe and go, hey, I'm fusion summoning now. And you can ditch the copy of Dolphin, and Dolphin will let you target stuff while it's in the graveyard, because it has the ability that you can target a toy vendor in your graveyard, set it, and if you do, you send one Fluffal monster or Edgem monster from your deck to the grave. And if this card is sent to the graveyard as fusion material to fusion summon a monster, you can shuffle into the deck one of your fusion spells or polymerizations that's banished or in your graveyard. But since you don't have one, it's basically just a vanilla that you're fusing away to summon out your copy of your Cruel Whale on your opponent's turn, which is going to help you out quite a lot to be able to pop 2 cards on the field, which is kind of helpful. But if we're going first, we're going to go ahead and draw for turn, which is going to get us a copy of Penguin. Now you can use your copy of your Foolish Burial Goods. The goods is going to help you out quite a lot to get you a search from the deck, because you can Foolish Burial away a copy of your toy vendor, and then again search the bear, and then use bear effect to be able to grab what you need. So we're going to go ahead and send the toy vendor, grab the bear, ditch the bear to the graveyard to set a toy vendor on our side of the field, which is going to be right here. we're going to set that copy of Toy Vendor, and then we're going to trigger it as well, which is going to help us out a little bit. So go ahead and send that to the graveyard, and then now you can flip the Toy Vendor and call Toy Vendor Effect, ditch your copy of your Dolphin, or you can normal summon out before you even go that far. Normal summon out your copy of your Dog, and Dog will search you out a monster from the deck, which can be a copy of your Edgem Sabers that'll get you another play later, and it's another card that you're not going to hit when you go in for your Toy Vendor, because you're trying to thin the decks just a little bit. Because what I would probably do is I would normal summon out the copy of Penguin, and then Penguin during your main phase can special summon a Fluffal, so you'd special summon the Dog, and then you'd search the Sabers. Because then you have an XYZ play here if you want to go for an XYZ, and then during your opponent's turn, you also have the Scythe, the Fusion Summon on their turn, and the Call by the Grave to ditch it literally any time. I probably would ditch the copy of my Scythe, or my copy of Sabers, because Sabers can come back, and then I draw into a wing, special summon the wing. Now that's really good, because if the wing's on your side of the field, you can actually hit the Toy Vendor like we did before, and you can link this away to go for a copy of Cross Sheep, like we were mentioning earlier. Summon the copy of Cross Sheep here, and then use your copy of your wing to send your Toy Vendor to the graveyard, banish 2 monsters from the grave, which is going to be your copy of Bear and Wing, and then you get to draw and then search, which is going to help you out quite a lot, or search and then draw, depending on how you resolve the chain. So let's go ahead and search, I guess, first, or we can draw first this time just to show you guys the difference. But let's go ahead and draw, cut the deck really quick, and then draw into a copy of Penguin and a copy of Foolish Burial Goods, which we've already resolved for the turn. It's not that great, but hey, whatever. And then you can search from the deck. You can search any of your Fluffal monsters that you might need. Your bear is once per turn, but you can search something else that you might need, like a copy of your cat if you want to search the cat. You can search out a copy of Dog if you want to search Dog to get you another play. I probably would search out the copy of Dog just to get another play rolling, because at this point, you really can just pass. Like, you can pass here, and then during your opponent's turn, you can use the Saber, or you can use the Scythe to fusion summon away the Penguin, which will get you a draw 2, discard 1. It's card sent to the graveyard as fusion material. For a Frightfur monster, you get to draw 2 and discard 1. So if I use this during my opponent's turn, and then drop the Cruel Whale, I can use the copy of the Cruel Whale as Chainlink 1, or Chainlink 2, use this as Chainlink 1, Chainlink 2, and then I can send from deck to graveyard a copy of my... I can send from deck to graveyard a copy of the Frightfur Repair, which is going to trigger the effect of the Frightfur Repair later, that I can banish it from the graveyard and then special summon a Fluffal or Edgem monster from my hand, which is going to be the Dog that I can special summon to my side of the field as a special summon, which is going to help out a lot. If you wanted to make Toad as well, instead of summoning the Dog to get the search, you could have special summoned Dolphin and then overlay these two and get a totally awesome if you wanted to go that route instead. But keep in mind, now you get to draw 2, discard 1, which if you draw into a wing or something is going to be pretty good. You only play 2 wing now, because I used to play 3 wing and I liked 3 wing, but if you just play 2, you're totally fine. So let's go ahead and draw our 2, which is going to be a Goods and a copy of Cat, and I'm going to discard one of the 2 Goods that I have in my hand, because you just don't need the 3rd copy of Goods. Like, you've got the copy of 1, and you're probably not going to last that much longer anyways. But don't forget about your Cross Sheep's effect as well, which is going to be like Chainlink 2 or 3 or whatever, that you can special summon back a monster from the graveyard, which can be your copy of Penguin to make you a copy of your Totally Awesome at the beginning of your next turn. So if you go to your next turn and you want to send something to graveyard off this effect, I usually would send a copy of Tiger, or El Tigre is what I call it. And then you go into your next turn and draw, because this is now, that was your opponent's turn that you did all that, which is insane that it plays basically on both players' turns. You draw into a bear, which you can ditch the bear if you want to ditch the bear, or if you want to get a search, you can go ahead and ditch the copy of Goods, which is going to help out quite a lot anyways, because you can use the Goods to send Toy Vendor to the graveyard, and then since we haven't normal summoned, go ahead and search your copy of Owl, because Owl, when it's normal or special summoned from your hand, you get to add a polymerization. So go ahead and normal summon out that Owl, and then search out a copy of Poly from your deck, and then now you can start fusioning, summoning, and OTKing your opponent, which is going to help out quite a lot. But you can also do this too. This is turn 3, by the way. We're going to go ahead and overlay both of these, and then go into a copy of Bahamut Shark, because they're both water, detach a material, and then summon a toad way over here, because you want to summon off the cross sheep as well. Now that we have a field like that, keep in mind you do have all your copies of Toy Vendor in the graveyard. There's 1 right there, there's 2 right there, and there's 3 right there. All your Toy Vendors are gone. Like, you can't activate Toy Vendor anymore. This is a polymerization while it's on the field as well, but what I'm going to go ahead and do is you don't have an edge imp on the field. Like, you don't have an edge imp anywhere, but that's why you searched earlier the copy of Sabers, because the Sabers effect is if this card is in your graveyard, you can place a card from your hand on top of your deck and then special summon this card. So I'm just going to go ahead and put on top of my deck the copy of Bear, because Bear is pretty useless at this point, because you can't set it. And then I'm going to special summon out the copy of Sabers, which then you can use the copy of Polymerization, use the copy of Cat, use the copy of your Dolphin, depending on how many cards you need to pop on your opponent's side of the field. Depends on what you use. So let's just go ahead and say we use those and special summon out our copy of El Tigre. This card is going to pop cards on the field. Now, you could special summon out the cross sheep, but the cross sheep's kind of dead now because you filled up all your zones. But don't really worry about that. That's fine. And then the copy of Cat will actually bring your polymerization back to your hand that you can then resolve again, and then fusion summon away your copy of Tiger and your copy of, say, Owl. You need to get 1 off the field as well. Get your copy of Owl off the field and get your copy of Dolphin out of your hand, and then you can special summon out your copy of Sabretooth, and then Sabretooth will bring back your copy of Tiger, and then all your monsters are now gaining 300 for each Frightfur on your field, and then this is also helping you gain attack points as well. So at this point, if you want to help yourself out a little bit, you can actually make an Appaloosa if you want to get something off the field by linking these away. And you can summon Appaloosa onto your side of the field just by getting rid of the Cruel Whale, or you can just go in and OTK your opponent like this, because you have all this advantage. At any point if your opponent tries to disrupt you, you can tribute the Toad as well, just to get it off the field and make it so your opponent can't stop you. You have the Toad. And then you can normal summon out the dog and get yourself another search. You could also get yourself another fusion summon if you wanted to, out of the owl, if you could keep the owl on your side of the field, or revive it with a cross sheep if the toad wasn't here. You could get yourself another fusion summon as well off the copy of your sabers and the other monsters that you had. So you have plenty of plays. Like, this is an ideal board right here for making for Frightfur. So let's go ahead and do one more test hand and see what we can pull off. Oh, don't forget about your copy of your Cruel Whale, because you can send a monster from your extra deck to the graveyard and then boost its attack by an additional half of whatever you send. So you could send a copy of Sabretooth to the graveyard and boost it up by an additional 1200, plus the Sabretooth boost, plus the Tiger boost as well. So you have a lot of boosts right there that you're getting, which is what Frightfurs are known for, is getting all those boosts, which is really cool. It's a little bit of a complicated deck, I will give it that, because you're trying to get as much card advantage as possible, but hey, it's Yu-Gi-Oh! What do you expect? Let's go ahead and do one more really quick test hand, just to see what we can actually pull off super fast and see what we can do, because that test hand was a little long. Let's go ahead and see what we can do. So let's go ahead and draw. We're going to draw into a wing, dog, cat, toy vendor, and Frightfur fusion. Go ahead and normal summon out that copy of your dog. Dog will then search the copy of your... You got wing in hand already. Go ahead and search Scythe. No, you can't search Scythe because it has to be an Edge and Saber. Use that and search a copy of Saber. I would search Saber, just to get it out of the deck. Go ahead and activate your copy of Toy Vendor. Discard your Saber, or Wing, excuse me. Discard the Wing, and then draw a card. It's called by the grave. It goes to the grave. Ditch this. Or no, you can't, because you don't have anything else. So that would stay on the field. And then you have your Frightfur fusion. That's all you could do pretty much. Sometimes you get hands like this where that's all you can do and you're set up. So when this goes to the graveyard, you can then resolve this and banish both of these. Send this to the graveyard, get a draw 2 and a search, which is a +3 essentially. And if you draw 2 and then search, you get a copy of Owl, which would get you another search. And you get a search out of the deck, which would be something simple like a copy of your Penguin, which would get you another draw. Or well, when you search the copy of Polymerization off of this, and you'd really get some plays rolling. So let's go ahead and say that's it, guys. We're getting kind of high up there on the time frame, but this deck is really, really, really good, as you guys can see with this deck now. It's basically functioning on your opponent's turn thanks to Edgem's Scythe, because that card is literally insane. I love that card. It's such a good card now. And Cruel Whale, I really wish this card was a holo. Like, I hope when they do the Megatins 2021 that they make this card like a secret rare or something. Like, it's really good. So, that's it for the test hands, guys. I hope you did enjoy it. It's a really fun deck to play around with. It's fairly budget, besides Appaloosa. In the extra deck, everything else is very budget in the extra deck, to be honest. Maybe Toad's a little expensive, but other than that, it's not crazy. And then the main deck is pretty budget too, because everything is a common. Everything was common that got released for this deck. So, anyways, guys, this is DarkArmedDuelist. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell there so you can become part of the notification squad, and definitely tell me what you think of this video down in the comments down below, and check out the Patreon, and we'll see you guys in the next video. See you later, guys.